Hi, my name is Ornella Trinidad. I'm a dietetic support team leader, and today I'm going to demonstrate the Eat Well Guide. So the Eat Well Guide represents a balanced, healthy diet. It doesn't represent a meal, but rather than the food that you eat throughout the day and throughout the week. So the Eat Well Guide is divided into 5 sections. So we have the carbohydrates, we have the oils, we have the dairy, protein, and fruit and veg. We also have foods that we should consume less of, and we also have the drinks. So we'll go through all the food, and we'll fill out the Eat Well Guide and show you which kind of foods does it represent. Okay, so we'll start off with dairy and alternatives. So for dairy, that will be considered something like milk, cheese, and we also have some yogurt. Now, dairy can be high in calories because it's quite high in fat. So you can always opt out, go for the low-fat options. So something like semi-skimmed milk, low-fat cheese, and low-fat plain like Greek-style yogurt. If you are following a vegan diet, you can also go for something like a plant-based drinks. So something like an almond drink, oat, soy drink, but make sure that it's fortified with calcium so you don't miss out on the important nutrients. And the next one is the oils and spreads. So for oils and spreads, you're thinking about butter and that are high in saturated fats. But to have something more healthier, you can always go for something like olive oil or vegetable oil and something like olive spread. These fats are called monounsaturated fatty acids, which tend to be healthy fats. So you always want to go for these options instead. Now we'll go for the carbohydrate section. So the carbohydrate should make the base of your meal. So we're thinking about something like pasta, something like bread, potatoes, rice, it can also be mashed potatoes, and some cereal. So you always want to go for the brown versions, which are called the whole grain or whole meal options. These carbohydrates have more nutrients than the white options, such as white bread or white pasta or white rice, and they have more fiber. So always opt for the brown rice, brown pasta, brown bread options. And then next we have fruit and veg. So notice over here for potatoes, I haven't added that in the fruit and veg section. That's because potato doesn't count towards the 5 fruit and veg portion. So instead you want to opt out for something like sweet potato. So sweet potato has a lot more nutrients than potatoes, and it counts towards your 5 a day. So you can always choose that over normal potatoes. So let's add some more fruits and veg over here as well. So we can add something like, let's say, beetroot as vegetables. You also have some green beans, carrots, cauliflower. You can also go for some green peas, but you can also choose something like frozen green peas or frozen vegetable. Or if you don't have space in the freezer, you can go for something like tinned beans and tinned sweet corn. So for the 5 a day, you want to consume 3 portions of vegetable and 2 portions of fruits every single day. So fruits can be like a handful of grapes, banana, some clementines. That's tomato, that would still count as a vegetable. Something like watermelon and berries. And we also have lemon over here we can use for dressing and things like that. And if you want to go for tinned fruits as well, you can always go for that because the fresh ones don't last that long. But when you're thinking about having tinned fruits, make sure you go for the option where the fruits are in fruit juice rather than syrup, because syrup can be quite high in sugar and you want to avoid that. So if you go for tinned fruits, make sure they are in fruit juices instead of syrup. And the last one is our protein section here. So for protein, you're thinking about something like chicken, fish, some beef, some eggs as well, and you have some tinned tuna and sardines as well. So that represents some of the protein items, but it's also recommended that you have 2 portions of fish every single week, and one of the portions should be an oily fish. So something like sardines or mackerel is a good idea as well. Now, if you're not If you're following a plant-based diet, you can also have like tofu as an option, as a substitute for protein. And beans and lentils are also a good idea because they're quite high in fiber and nutrients. And a handful of nuts as well, they make up your protein source. Now the things to have less of, that would include something like a burger. So like try and avoid fast food joints if possible, or if you want to, you can have less of these. So something like a burger, condiments as well, because they're quite high in calories because of the amount of sugar and amount of fat they add into it. You also have like bakery goods like donuts, like cakes, ice cream, cold coffees as well, especially the ones that you get in fast food joints, because they tend to have a lot of sugar and a lot of fat, and biscuits as well. This section of the Eat Well guide you want to try and have less of. And the final section is your drinks. So you want to try and aim for 6 to 8 glasses of drink per day. This can include water, but also have some fruit juice and on tea or coffee. So for tea and coffee, you want to make sure that you do not consume any tea or coffee after afternoon time, as the caffeine in the drink can affect your sleeping habits. So to avoid that, you can have some tea or coffee, just make sure you have it before, and limit the amount of sugar you add into that as well. You can also have like fruit juices or smoothies, but make sure you have only 150 milliliters of fruit juices or smoothies, because they can have a lot of refined sugar in them, and you want to try and limit those out. And yeah, so that represents the Eat Well guide. And the Eat Well guide is not based on a meal, rather than the food that you should have over a day and over a week. Thank you.